Welcome back. You got yourself a ukulele and you're all set to learn, and it's not in tune. What do? People, well, you go to YouTube and you type in, how do I tune my ukulele? Don't go to Wikipedia. It gets real confusing there. There's some really, really good resources, especially on YouTube, of people who teach you how to tune your ukulele, or even know if your ukulele's in tune. I'm going to try and put them all in one easy, pleasy, wonderful little video. So, first thing you need to know is there's different tunings. There's sort of the general everybody's groovy with tuning, and then there's the weirdo tunings, and then depending on the ukulele you got, things can get even stranger than that. So, some basics in terms of, especially if you're a guitar player or a violin player or a bass player and you're just starting in ukulele and you pick the thing up, the first thing you're going to notice is the strings aren't in order. Like every other normal string instrument. Every other string instrument in the world would go lowest string, and then the next string would be a little bit higher, and the next string would be a little bit higher, and the last string would be higher than that, but ukuleles don't do that. So ukuleles, we go high, low, sort of low, and then really high in order. The other thing that messes most of my students up is the names of the strings. So you're playing the ukulele and they'll teach you this really, really cool tuning thing. Like you play your strings and then you sing, everybody knows it, my dog has fleas. And if your instrument goes, my dog has fleas, you're in tune and you're ready to go. If it doesn't make that noise, then you have to get it so it makes that noise, and nobody really wants to tell you. You start generally tuning at the top string. So this is the first string you play. So naturally it's called the fourth string. The first string's way down here. So the string that we play first of all is the fourth string, then the third string, then the second string, and then the first string. But if you're talking to somebody like they're giving you ukulele lessons, they're going to call this string here the first string, but this is the string we start with. Thanks, ukulele. Anyways, none of that matters. I call this string the face string when I'm teaching little kids because it's the one that's closest to your face, and this is the floor string because it's closest to the floor. So yes, if your ukulele goes, my dog has fleas, you're good to go, and skip this video and come back to it later when it doesn't make that noise. So most people play in the key of C. This is tuned to the key of C. Really, really quickly, this cute little blue mahalo here. This is in Canadian tuning. I don't know if that's an insult or not. I think it has to do with the fact that in the 40s, ukulele was mandatory in Canadian elementary schools. How cool would that be? Mandatory ukulele. But for some reason, all of the resources were in the key of D. And if you're tuning your ukulele in the key of D, you've got an A and a D and an F sharp and a B. And that's Canuck tuning. We actually use this when we're building ukuleles to put them under tension. I start with the key of D because it bends the neck, but I don't know a lot of people who play in D anymore, so we're going to put this one to the side. But the notes again, A, D, F sharp, and a B. Okay, so standard ukulele in the key of C. Just down a tone from what I told you. But again, if you never play in Canadian tuning, you don't need to listen to anything that I just told you. This is a G. This is a C. This is an E. And this is an A. So the other weird thing is the intervals that you're dealing with here. If you want to get into like massive stuff, you're starting on the fifth, you're moving to the root, and then you're going to the third, and then you're going to the sixth, which doesn't make sense in terms of violins or guitars or anything, but ukulele, it's actually the reason they're wonderful. So, you aren't in tune, what do? You got one of these? There's a phone. I can show you. It barely shows up. I use something called ClearTune. There's about 1,000 of them. You go to the App Store and you download. And it'll give you a rotary tuner, and then you play the note, and it'll tell you what notes you're playing, and it'll show you that you're either not quite there, or you've gone past the note that you want to go to. And this is important, especially when I'm working with little kids, is they get a tuner and then they tune, but they tune to the wrong note. So you're trying to get this note to a G. Here's the other thing you can do if you're really, really not sure. I play this note here. Just fool with this until it sounds kind of like this. Listen, it's massively frustrating to try and learn the ukulele if it's out of tune. If you got somebody who can tune it for you and you're not at that stage of your life yet, go that way. But you download the app and you make this sound like a G, and then you make the next one sound like a C. And again, if it's not where it needs to be, you tighten a little bit and you do some fine tuning with the tuning pegs here. You want to be really, really awesome with it. You spend 20 bucks, you go to the music store and you get one of these. There's about 7 companies that make them. I recommend Schnark, and they're not paying me anything yet. By the way, one day I'm going to be huge and blow up all over the internet. Schnark, you're going to want to sponsor me because I just gave you Schnark. Also, so much fun to say. So Schnark, you put it on here, and then you play, and it tells you one note, and it does the same thing. And it does this thing. If it's red, you're not right. But when it gets to the green, you're close, and you're trying to get as close as possible. The true advantage of the Snark over the phone, this is going off the microphone. If people are making noise, or there's other ukulele players, or heaven forbid there's like a clarinet player honking around, your app's not going to work. Snark invented the technology where it reads the vibrations in the headstock. And unless there's a ton of cacophony going on, that's right, I used cacophony in a sentence. It's reading the vibrations out. So no matter what you're talking about or no matter who you're talking to, it will tell you. And again, you're going to tune one string at a time. Your G string, your C string, your E string, and your top A string. Now, if you're playing a baritone ukulele, it's a different tuning. If you're playing a bass ukulele, it's a different tuning. That's going to be in another video. So, like and subscribe because you got to get all this content one at a time. All right, here's the thing that almost nobody shows you or teaches you. And it takes a little fiddling to get with it, but this is super useful. You go into the music store to buy a ukulele and they're not in tune. And you don't want to bug the guitar gods and ask them for a Snark because they don't really want to deal with you because you're a ukulele person. And if you do get their attention, they sort of hover over you and listen, when I started playing and I went to the stores, nothing bothered me more than having a guitar center guy just sort of lurk over me while I was trying out instruments. But, the ukulele rack can often be really, really looked after and abused. And you want to play them, but you can't play them and you're not in tune and whatever. This is emergency tuning. It takes a little while to get used to, but this is a nice thing. It's even, you're in the middle of a gig or something like that and you think your uke's out of tune. You can check it. Or you do the My Dog Has Fleas and it's out of tune. You don't need a tuner. You don't need a phone. You don't need an app. All those things are awesome, but there is a way to check your tuning on your ukulele. And it's a little bit more complicated. So we're going to start with the 3rd string. That's the almost face string right here. And we're going to call that our bass note. You want to make sure that it doesn't sound like it's too high. And this is the great part about emergency tuning is it doesn't matter what note this makes. As long as the rest of the strings are proportional to that, you can play in any key you want. You take this string here and you move your finger to the 4th fret and you play that string and you play the 2nd string. They should be the same. If they're not the same, you adjust the 2nd string until it sounds the same as this one. Now you got 2 strings that are in tune with each other. Go down to that 3rd string and move your finger to the 1, 2, 3rd fret. If you put your finger on the 3rd fret, you now have the 1st string, the face string. They should be the same. And again, if they're not the same, and mine's not exactly the same, now you got 3 strings. So the only one you got to worry about is the bottom one. And the same thing applies. Once you've tuned a string, you're going to use it to tune the next one. So if you take your face string right here, and you put your finger on the 2nd fret, it should sound like the 1st string, the bottom string, the floor string. That's close. Sorry. And now you got My Dog Has Fleas. So again, 3rd string, 4th fret should be the same as your 2nd string. second string, third fret should be the same as your top string, fourth string, face string, and your top string, face string, second fret should be the same as your first string, bottom string, floor string. And now you're in tune, and now you can play anything you want. Until next time, take care.